Welcome back to Newsmax Now. I'm Miranda Kahn.
And I'm John Bachman, and joining us now for our roundtable discussion, founder of ReaganBaby.com, Megan Barth. And it's good to have you with us, Megan. Let's begin with Harry Reid. He's been on sort of a tear lately. He's fired up over this Loretta Lynch debate, but things are looking up, according to Politico and other sources. The Senate has reached a deal to pass that human trafficking bill. But in that same article, Politico quotes Senator Reid as saying, "No wonder Jeb Bush stood up for Loretta Lynch in New Hampshire." Reid said Monday, Bush didn't just show grace in doing that, he also showed more common sense than his brother showed in 8 years as president of the United States. Jeb Bush has known that Senator Mitch McConnell is hijacking this process does him absolutely no good. Okay, Harry Reid weighing in here. We'd expect it from him, but can he mess up this little period of bipartisanship we're seeing with his mouth?
Yeah, well, he always does. And the fact is that the sex trafficking bill was held up by the Democrats in the Senate because it was over abortion. They wanted to make sure that taxpayers would fund abortions. So that was more important to the Democrats and Harry Reid than sex slavery. Harry, I wish, would have maybe hurt his mouth instead of his eye, because thankfully he's retiring. We don't have to hear from him much more.
Well, we do want to play one more clip, too, because he was threatening to do some parliamentary procedure type things that only, I guess, Harry Reid and other folks who have been in the Senate forever know about. Let's play that clip from Rachel Maddow.
We put up with this far too long. And we're going to either have a vote on her very soon that's created by Mitch McConnell, or I'll create one. I can still do that. I know parliamentary procedure around here, and we're going to put up with this for a little while longer, but not much.
You have a way that you think that you can force a vote, even if McConnell won't consent to it?
Absolutely, I'm going to force a vote.
Well, he said he could force the vote, Megan, and then there, I guess, is going to be a vote here very soon. You think Harry Reid's threat had anything to do with what happened today?
Yeah, absolutely. And Obama came out on Friday and said that he was embarrassed by Congress for holding up this vote. And I should probably remind President Obama that we're all embarrassed that he went to the table with Iran. There doesn't seem to be a red line in any countries or despot countries that Obama deals with. They will most likely force the vote, but I congratulate the Congress for taking time to truly vet Loretta Lynch, who I consider Eric Holder in a skirt. She's going to apply justice through a non-objective lens. And, she's going to be another Eric Holder to pick and choose who she prosecutes. Lois Lerner is walking free when we have obvious collusion between her and members of Congress.
All right, Megan, let's switch gears now, if we can, to the campaign trail. We recall Marco Rubio, during his formal announcement, taking a slight dig at Hillary Clinton with his yesterday remarks, but it appears some college students of today are pretty excited about Clinton, if for one reason only. Take a listen.
Are you ready for Hillary?
Yes.
Why are you ready for Hillary?
We need a woman president.
She's a woman, so.
To be honest, it's because she's a female.
Because it's time we have a female president.
Have a woman president?
She's a woman.
I think it'd be amazing to see a woman president. She's a woman.
So in case everyone was wondering, Clinton is a woman. Megan, it's confirmed. Megan, is this attitude that Hillary makes a good candidate because of her gender, is that going to fly among women in the general population, you think?
No, and I talk about this on ReaganBaby.com, specifically in the blog Dear GOP 1984 is calling, please pick up the phone. And Ronald Reagan was the only conservative president in recent history that broke the gender gap. And he got 56% of the women's vote. He did so by speaking to women as not a victimized group or a select group. He spoke to all Americans as Americans, and studies show that women vote with their pocketbooks, just like men do. When women vote, we don't look at a woman and say, I must vote for a woman because I'm a woman. We look for leadership. And that's what people do when they normally, an educated public, and the general public does when they vote. They look for leadership. Who is going to bring us forward into this modern world?
And Megan, why do you think that more women don't join in politics?
Why do they not join in politics?
Yeah, I mean, out of all these potential presidential contenders, we have two, maybe one officially, maybe another one.
Well, I think actually the last election we saw some historic strides, especially in the Republican Party, of getting women into office, and we have the most women Republicans do in governorships across the country. When it comes to a national, I don't know that there has been a time, unless it was back in Ferraro when she ran with Mondale. Hillary seems to think it's her time. Elizabeth Warren is, I think, waiting in the back to see what she can do. If Hillary does not take a stand on an issue, she has not yet. She has not given anyone a platform of what she is going to accomplish and how she's going to accomplish that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the women, especially in the Republican Party, they're too busy working on things like Susan Collins from Maine, the senator, and Carly Fiorina, who's in the race now. She was former CEO of Hewlett-Packard. They don't like to talk about it. I think, at least on the right, and I don't want to speak for Megan, but I think women on the right want to focus on things like the economy without being that special class that she spoke of. Let's talk about Ronald Reagan a little bit more, and Governor Scott Walker, who was also talking about governors who then went on to become president.
When people say a governor, foreign policy, how do you lift up to that? So in my lifetime, the best president when it comes to foreign policy was a governor from California. In my lifetime, the worst president when it comes to foreign policy was a freshman senator from Illinois. So I don't buy into this belief that on foreign policy.
So there you go. That's always the knock on governors, and Walker brings up a good point, Ronald Reagan. Megan, you're the founder of ReaganBaby.com. Obviously, you're a big fan of the giver, but do you think it's time for the Republican Party to look forward for more inspiration, as opposed to always looking back towards Ronald Reagan as the guy who basically changed the party?
Well, I think Ronald Reagan's platform of 1984, which I had mentioned, it can cross at any time in any century. It's principally based, and I don't think principles need to change with the years as they go along.
But when you have a guy like Marco Rubio talking about Hillary Clinton being the candidate of yesterday, and he's trying to promote this image of tomorrow, can you still do that when you're always talking about what Ronald Reagan did in the 1980s?
Well, I think we always look back when we look at leaders and who really energized America, whether that's from a corporate position or a presidential position. So I don't think it's a bad idea to harken back to the golden years of Reagan and apply some of his policies to today's world. Especially when you're campaigning. Foreign policy is integral right now. I mean, Hillary Clinton, what are her accomplishments as Secretary of State? I am still waiting. I've been asking this question for 3 weeks. So she is the candidate of yesterday, and she has been in the public spotlight and held office for quite some time, but yet she cannot speak to the future. She cannot even speak to her platform.
Yeah, and some uncomfortable questions likely coming up about her past relationship with Mohamed Morsi during the turmoil in Egypt. But I do want to ask you real quick before we say goodbye, Megan, kind of changing the topic a little bit here. I don't know if you heard about this, just a tad, but we like to end on a kind of different note. Up in New York, a state judge there has granted habeas corpus to a couple of chimpanzees, saying that they are legal persons and they have a right to be in a place other than where they're confined right now. This is led by the Non-Human Rights Project. Do you see this as a slippery slope?
Well, that is quite a change. It could be. I don't want to state, but I'm an animal lover. So I want to protect them, right?
Right. I think we can all agree. We want to protect these chimpanzees. We want to see them live out their days. But taking it to the place where they have the same rights as human beings in a court of law, I think it's just something we should talk about.
I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm a little bit concerned about, this judicial maybe activism that's coming from the bench. So, yeah, we do have to be very careful about that because unfortunately, animals are used in animal studies.
We'll leave it there, Megan. We got to go. But thanks for playing with us on this interesting topic. More to come.